So hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about our module 2, and so today we'll be talking about a little bit about Ruby and then GitHub. So the first thing I want to mention is about our module 1. So on our module 1 we had to install Discourse in our local machine. So if you are successfully able to install that, you should be able to go to your localhost 3000 and you should see something like this. And so now this is very important that you have Discourse in your local machine, because from our next module we will be actually developing our theme, and now we have to test that theme, so to see like what it looks like, or like what kind of theme we want to develop. So we have to test it frequently, and for that you must have Discourse installed, and Discourse should be running locally on your machine. But if you haven't done that, just go ahead and try to install it. It's not that hard, but just in case if you get some kind of problem, just let us know and we will be happy to help you. So this was the task for our module 1, and after you complete this part, you should also post your self-assessment. I hope you have done that, and if you haven't done that, it's not too late. You can go ahead and post it again. Okay, so having said that, let's go to the module 2, and today we will talk a little about Git and GitHub, and a little about Ruby, and then finally we'll talk about project management tool called Trello. So this is what we will be using for project management. Now this is the prerequisite, and this is our module 1 task: installing Discourse and having GitHub account and like sending us your GitHub info. So I think all of you have done that, and there are a couple of guys who haven't accepted the GitHub invitation. So you need to accept that so you can have access to the GitHub repo. And another thing is I have posted the link of Ruby. So there are like 3 videos. I think 2 of them are kind of long. They are long, but they explain in details about Ruby, so they are very, very, very useful. And there is one short video. I think it was done by our previous mentor James. It is a short video, but it gives a kind of brief knowledge on how Ruby is. So if you don't have time to learn everything about Ruby and you just want to get started, you can watch that short video. It's like 20 minutes. And there is another video about GitHub, and that one is also a long video, but I can say that is one of the best video on GitHub I've ever seen. It covers each and every part. So if you watch this video on GitHub, I mean, you will know from A to Z. You will be mastering GitHub. But anyway, like I will just show basic step on GitHub today, how to get the data, or like how to clone the repo and how to push it to GitHub. Just the basic steps. And if you are already familiar with GitHub, then it might not be something new to you. And finally, we'll talk about Trello. All right, so let's go down over here. Now, yeah, these are the links to those videos if you want to watch. Okay, now over here I have posted the link to the GitHub, so you can just open this, and this is our GitHub repo. And just a quick notice, if you haven't accepted that invitation that I sent you, you won't be able to access this, because this is our private repo. You must accept that invitation. So if I go inside this folder, let me show you what is inside. So this is basically about Ruby. It's not that complex. It's just like simple assignments, and you can see 3 folders: assignments, solution, and test. Inside assignment there are 4 files. So this is where you will be writing your code actually, and those codes are not that complex. It's just a general syntax knowledge about Ruby. And over here you can find all the instructions. So just read that instruction and you just writer code, and there are other files. It's same. So here is where you write your code. So there are 4 files. Just open each file and complete your assignment. And then there is solution folder. So just if you are stuck and you don't know what to do, you can just go to the solution and watch it. But I encourage you not to go over here straight. Just go do your assignment, and like if there is some point like you can't do it, just you can go to solution and watch how I have implemented that. And there is a test. So this is to test your code. Now after you finish your coding, if you want to test it, if it is correct or not, you can just run this file and it will show you if it is right or wrong. And I will show you how to do this later. And this is our project structure. So now let me show you how do we clone the GitHub. Okay, so and you can let me just point out something before I go there. I have also posted something over here. Okay, let me just open his, and over here I have pasted, I have all those things step by step, so you can also follow this if you are lost somewhere. And there is 2 more things I have to mention. If you are using Mac, then you don't have to worry about that, because Git and Ruby, it comes pre-installed in Mac. But if you are using Windows and you haven't installed Ruby or Git, just go ahead and install it. And if you need some guidance, then I have posted the link over here. It shows you how to install and configure environment paths in brief. So you can just follow this link if you get stuck at some point. So yeah, those are 2 things that you have to consider before going inside. And I prefer using VS Code, but you know, you are free to use anything you like. It really doesn't matter what kind of code editor do you use. So by saying that, let me just go to this GitHub and let me try to clone this. So I'm just trying to show you how I would approach this problem, or like how I would approach this particular step. So if you have something else on your mind, or like you want to do it in different way, you are please feel free to do so. So what I will do is, let me just create a folder. Let me name it Module1 assignment. Okay, this is the folder that I want to work with, that I want to put everything. So let me just open my VS Code. And open this. And I like to use the terminal in VS Code. So I'll just click over here and I'll drag it over here. But if you want to use command line or like even terminal, yeah, it's same thing. It doesn't really make difference. And if you want to make sure like the correct version of Git and Ruby has been installed, I think you can just type GitHub version. So maybe, okay, not GitHub, but Git version. Okay, so that means the Git is okay. And if I do same thing with Ruby, yeah, so that means I have both Git and Ruby. So I'm ready to clone my GitHub repo. So I can go back to the browser and just copy this link of this FS pathway. And if I go to the VS Code, and if I type git clone and paste that link, it will give me all those folders. So okay, so if I do that, I get the FS pathway folder, and inside I can see Ruby assignment, I see assignment, solution, and test. So I get everything. So I go down. Okay, so right now I'm in my Module1 assignment. So what I want to do is I want to go inside this FS pathway. So if I go to inside, okay, now you can see master over here. That means Git has been initialized and I am in the master branch. But one thing you have to be careful is like you don't want to work in master branch. the first thing you have to do is you have to create your own branch. And how we do that is git checkout b. So I'm just doing 2 steps in one line. So git checkout -b. So this -b will create a new branch, and this checkout will switch you to that new branch. So what I can do is I will give my branch name as a module2 maybe, and let's say bm branch. Okay, so this is my name, so I just give it like module2 bm branch. So you can give any name you want. So if I do this, it will create a new branch called this name, and it will switch me to that branch. So I am no longer in master branch, I'm in the bm branch. So this is where I will actually be working on. So after I do that, I will just go to the assignment and I will open my folder, and this is how it looks like. So all you have to do is write some code. So just read the instruction and write the code. And if you are familiar with the Ruby, yeah, it might be kind of easy. This is not that hard. But if you are not familiar, maybe you can just watch that video or even that short video, and you'll have kind of cool knowledge about Ruby. And Ruby is not that hard. It is very easy to learn. It is like a forgiven language. That's what they say, because it is kind of plain English type language. So if you read some Ruby code, then like it kind of resembles English language. So it's really easy to learn. So similarly, you have to do all these 4 files. So complete like one after another. It will just give you some practice on Ruby. So it's just kind of warm up, nothing big. And after you finish all your assignments, you can test it. So over here, you can see the test folder, and there is test suite. And to see if your code is correct or incorrect, what you can do is they can just type Ruby, and then you have to specify the path. So right now I'm in FS pathway. So you have to go to Ruby assignments and then test, and inside the test there is a file. So that's what I'm gonna do over here. So I will go inside the Ruby assignment folder, and inside it there is a test, and inside test folder there is my file. So if I hit enter, it will run some test and it will show 0% passed. So that means our file is empty. It is showing 0% passed. So if you get everything correct, that it will show you 100% pass. So this is how you check the code, and this is how we will be writing test suite anyway later on. So as we when we develop plugins, we will write a lot of functions in Ruby code, and we have to make sure those code works. So this is how we will be testing. You can call it kind of unit test. And let me just show you how it looks like when everything works. So let me open another folder. So over here I have completed the assignment. I'm just trying to execute that test. So if I run this, all right, so if you got everything correct, you will see something like this, 100% pass and some green line over here. So this is what you will be seeing actually. So it really doesn't matter you use the terminal in VS Code or command line or even terminal, it's the same thing. And okay, so after you are done with this assignment, it's time to push your code to the GitHub. So you have to push it back to GitHub. And what you would do is, the first thing is I want to check my Git status. Just type Git status, and if you hit enter, you can see one file has been modified. So if you work on all those 4 files, then you might see 4 files modified or even something more. Now this is in our working directory. Now we have to add this to our staging area. So how would you do that is you just type git add, and you just type the name of this file, something like Ruby assignment or something. And if you have a lot of files, it's not really possible to type all those files name. So what I will do is I'll just put dot. So git add space dot. So it will just add everything. And now if I check my git status, okay, that has been added to my staging area. Now what I would do is I have to commit it. So git commit, and you have to provide some message. So it doesn't matter what message you provide, you just have to provide something descriptive. So let me say, I say completed assignment, something like this. Now this thing, it will just show up in the GitHub repo. It doesn't do any effect on the code itself. So okay, so I have committed it. Now after that, you just have to push it to GitHub. So how would you do that is you'll just do git push u origin. So -u means it is upstream. So that means you are creating a link between your local repo to the repo in GitHub. And this origin is just specifying to the link, or like it is just pointing to the repo in the website or in GitHub somewhere. So that's what those things mean. And you have to provide the branch name, what branch you want to push. So in my case, it is Module1 BM branch. So, and if I hit enter, it will just push my code to the GitHub, and we'll do some kind of pull request over there. Now this is you do this for just the first time. Now if you are doing it for the second time, you don't have to specify -u, because for the first time you had created the link. That means the link is already there, so you don't have to recreate link again and again. But if you are pushing the code for the first time, you can provide -u, and if you hit enter, it will just send the code to GitHub. And then over here we can see just one branch right now, but after you successfully push it, we will see your branch over here. So this is the basic step on how you will get the code and how will you push the code. And if you are familiar with GitHub and this is nothing new to you, it is just kind of simple. I just showed you like how would I approach it. And the same thing will apply for all of our project. I will provide maybe like some kind of Ruby theme or like discourse theme or plugin over here, skeleton, and you'll have to clone that theme, and you just have to, you know, write your some code or your own theme, and you have to push it back to GitHub. So that's how we will be working. And any questions so far? If no, I can proceed to the next section.
Everything's good.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, so just feel free to stop me if you have any question. So I'm not pushing it to GitHub. Let me just close this. Okay, now so let's get back to our project management Trello. So that's what we will be using actually. And yeah, one more thing, I just want to remind you again, if you haven't accepted the invitation, you won't be able to see this. So, you know, if that's the case, just provide your GitHub info to our forum and I will send you invitation again. So let's take a look on Trello. Okay, this is how Trello looks like, and I have created a board called FS Pathway. Now I haven't invited any of you yet. I will do that. So this is an empty right now, but let me show you how it will look like. So I can just create maybe, okay, maybe let's say user 1, and let me say I can create a profile. Let's see if I can put some image over here. Let's see. Looks like I don't have no image, but if I have an image, I can put the image over here. So and over here we will have tasks like, you know, task 1, task 2, and task 3. So this is how the tasks will be given to you, and there might be user 2 over here, and there might be user 3, something like this. And all of the user, they will have, let's say they will have their profile, like what are their role or what they're going to be doing, and they will have their tasks, something like this. Now inside the task, I'll be providing the tasks that you have to be doing. So just let's take an example of this Module1. Let me just create one simple dummy task. So let's say this is our Module2, and over here let's say complete Ruby assignment, and under push code to GitHub. Okay, let's say there is 2 tasks. Now it will be assigned to you like this. So what you have to do is you have to go and finish your Ruby code, and after you complete that, you just come over here and you just tick it. And if you have some comment, you can just type something like that, completed Ruby, and save it. So if you do like this, you know, whoever is in the board, they can see it and they can view it, what you have done. And after you finish pushing the code to GitHub, come over here and just tick it. So the green check mark over here means you have completed your assignment. So similarly, there will be like task 2 and task 3. So this is how we will be managing the tasks and projects. So right now we just have 2 tasks or 1 task, so it might seem like this is unnecessary, but as we keep on going, we might even have like 20 tasks, 30 tasks, or even like 40 tasks. And in that case, like it will get very confusing of what you have done and what needs to be done, and like what have you completed. And at that time, this comes really handy, and this will even help us to evenly distribute our tasks, because let's say user 1 have 3 tasks and user 2 they have just 1 task. We can just give that task to this guy, so it'll be 2 tasks for each. So this is how we will be using Trello for our project management. And for our module 2, this is the task. So you have to go get this project, this repo, you have to complete it, and you can test it and you can push it back to GitHub. So I will create a pull request, and on Trello I will create card for each user, and I will post the tasks assigned to you. So, and you'll have access to this too. I will send an invitation to your email address soon. So this is how we'll be using this Trello. And this should do for the module 2. So your main task will be learning how to use Ruby code and GitHub. And starting from next module, we will go inside theme development. So for that, I will create a new folder called something like theme, and I will provide you a skeleton, like basic skeleton, and that's where we will be developing the theme. So any questions so far? So this is kind of simple, right? So I hope you understood it. And if you have any question about even like Discourse or GitHub or Ruby or anything, yeah, just please feel to ask me now. Okay, so right, so any questions?
Everything is pretty straightforward. I think we got it.
Okay, yeah, so it's kind of straightforward for now. So it's just kind of, let's say, kind of warm up. So I think you guys are familiar with Git and GitHub, so you might not have questions about them. And have you successfully installed Discourse, by the way? And let me stop the recording. Yeah, so if you are having any issue with the installation, just let us know, and you can post a question in the forum, and yeah, we can guide you through that. It can be kind of pain if there is like some kind of mismatch between system configuration. Otherwise, everything should work fine. There is just like one line of script that you have to run and it will just install automatically.
Okay, so like I'm on GitHub right now, and so I just download like the zip file then.
Okay, so you can directly clone the GitHub instead of downloading the zip file.
Oh, okay.
So I think that would be the easy way. But if you download the zip file, then you can work on it, but you have to initialize the Git later on.
Okay.
So I think the easy way for you is to just clone the GitHub repo, so you don't have to download the zip or anything.
Okay. So once I clone it, what I would have to open VS Code and then just go from there.
Yeah, so that's what I recommend because it's kind of easy because VS Code comes with terminal and everything. But if you want to use different editor, like it's the same thing. You can use anything. You can even use Notepad.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter. And if you are using some other editors like Sublime or Notepad, and if you want to test it, and at that point you have to use terminal to test your code or push your code to GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah, but VS Code just makes everything easy, so that's what I use. But like, it's not compulsory. You can use anything that you are comfortable with. Alright, so let me just stop recording and I'll stay for a moment if you guys have still some questions. Okay, let me just stop.